This is John Wesley, pretending guitarist. We were watching Morow.com, best Prog Radio on Blue. Well, the album came out in 2016, and I worked it really hard. Toured the Pavilion, I toured all over the world. And I did a bunch of shows on my own. I even did take one of these rock boats with my trio, Sean Lowe and Mark Crater. And then when I got off that tour, financially things didn't really work out, and I was able to get a second job. So I was trying to balance the music career and another career at the same time. And then things just kept happening as I was starting to write a new record. COVID hit. And for a lot of people, COVID meant that they could go into their houses and you do whatever they want. And a lot of artists were able to create records. But for me, the job I was doing, we were a leadership training company, was working with a retired Lieutenant Colonel Beret. And as soon as COVID hit, we got into teaching corporations on how to manage chaos. So there I was trying to write songs and work, but I was working extra hard because there was so much chaos in the world that our company just blew up. And so I really got into that. And then probably near the end of 2020, again, something, there was a couple tragedies during this time where it really affected me. It kind of put me off. It didn't put me off music completely, but it made me not want to do it as much. And that was the first one, was finding out Neil Peart was sick. And that he wasn't going to make it. And he's a very dear friend. And going back and forth, it just affected me deeply. And just like, what's it all about, And then the second thing was when we got into COVID, we lost the bass player in our band, Sean Malone. He took his own life, and that really shut me down to work. So between COVID, all this extra work, I just lost the taste for music, Fringe. And so, kind of around the end of COVID, I was going back and forth to work country. You guys made Steve, and there was a chance that, no one knew at the time, there was a chance that this reunion was going to happen, and that I would be involved. And then I found out during the summer that they had gone a different direction, and decided to replace myself and Colin in the band, and that was really tough. But that very same evening that I met with Gab, they really let me know that they were choosing a different direction. I got hired by this band, Vertical Horizon. Found the hat today. It's sunny out today, so I'm gonna wear my Vertical Horizon hats. I got hired by Vertical Horizon that sound, and it's an American band that sold a couple million records, and I did be work all the time. And I love the guys in the band, so it was immediately one door closed, the next door open, and it really helped me make that transition because I had such a connection to the Porcupine Tree. Yeah, for all those years, I was waiting for it to come back. Didn't. And when it did, it kind of messed my head up a little bit. But immediately I got hired by the Vertical Horizon guys, and it kind of reopened my.
Those people. That track, she won't stand for you. She won't stand for you. She won't let it go. She's so had her feel. But if she won't forgive, maybe Mary will. Mary's hiding there under the roses, her stone white faded gray, just behind the hoses. She stayed till her son was gone. Mary never moved, but just like she'd done for him, maybe she'd do for you. Maybe Mary will.
Yeah, the Porcupine Tree thing was tough. Steven and I had actually talked about a couple years where he had mentioned, or what, he had told me it was going to be eventually a reunion and we wanted to do cartilets. But when it came down to time to put the whole thing together, and the band got together and decided they want to go refresh, bring in some younger players, some guys who play in a different way. And I think it worked out well. And at the same meet, like I said earlier, the same week that Gavin told me that they had changed directions, I got hired by another band in the Vertical Horizon Dogs. So it was tough for me, but, one door closes, the next one opens.
High upon a hill, looking out over the ruins burning still. Where was I for all of this? Where was I for all of this? You never looked so bad, she said. I didn't know that I could do all this, she said. I didn't know it all could burn with just a kiss. Burn with just a kiss. I didn't know. Well, you didn't know Rome was burning. You didn't notice that you had the flame still in your eyes. Why didn't you know Rome was burning? And as the passion filled your eyes,
For whatever reason, they decided to ease the two guys on the axis compete for what they considered to be the poor best, which was procupine carriers.
So Voyage found himself in the city or bit.
Doing other things. And to be fair, Wolf just charged me to this new life and this new art. And
Had a good time. Well, still working, doing fast. Yeah, he's involved. Oh, jeez. AK project is just a fantastic project.
they were doing a new record and they needed a big guitar solo, a long guitar solo to begin one of their songs. And they hadn't really done guitar solos. And Colin was like, I remember a little bit of John Wesley used to just see pretty cool things, so we reached out to him. And he reached out to me one day and said, play a guitar solo on this song for me. I was like, yeah, sounds like fun. Send it to me, And he sent it. It was a great track. Of course, Prog, they brought it. Got to follow it at thing, those guys, Mellow. It's just a great thing. So I was really honored when he did that. And so I sat down and just went out a guitar solo. I sent to him. Was like, that's great. We'll keep it. So I was like, yay, And then we just got to going back and forth. So after that, Colin had been talking to, I think it was Richard Allen, and they, people had always asked Colin, well, what about the old music? What about the old music? And one day him and Richard Allen were joking about it. Like, what if we put a band together and just played the old songs? Just kind of started to be a joke. And Richard said, well, there's a lot of people that loved that era of the band, and you never get to hear it anymore. What if you and John Wesley did somewhere? And Colin reached out to me, said, I got this idea. What if you and I went out and we brought another two guys, you went out, it would revisit it, it brought a new light to the old music. Like, the early stuff from 92, 3, all the way up to Innocence. And I thought, well, God, that we right? And so we started going back and forth, and Richard hit up one of the promoters, and he was like, I'll book you right now. And Richie's like, we don't probably have a brand yet. It's like, I don't care. It's those two guys are gonna put together a great band. It's gonna be something. I'll put you right here. So they did, and we had already had a couple guys in mind, and both guys accepted the offer to do it, be a part of it, because they both loved that era of the music. They're both really into it, and can't say who they are yet, but it will be announced. And it happened. Yeah, so the type of the music we're going to be going for Boys 35 is the early days of Porcupine. Now, Colin was really involved with back down, and you can hear it in all music. It's groovy bass lines and just a real tripper in all these sections here, get that driving rhythm section. And I was a fan of the music back then. I get introduced to it early on, probably around start here at Bud Blaze. And I fell in love with it. And before I met Steve, and before I actually became a car band, my wife and I are actually really big fans. So I had all those records. I knew all that. And when Steve and I finally met, that was one of the things that kind of made us friends immediately, was that he had seen me play a solo set. He really liked it. And then I, of course, was, a big fan of Porcupine Tree at that time. And I actually got to see him in London with the old lineup before I joined. And we just kind of connected. So what we're going to do is we're going to play all that and it's really OC to me to slide into that role, because I had such connections to that music already. And we played some of those songs, during the time I was in the band, songs like Even Less and things like that. Well, I really like Sky Neath Cyrus, Signified, Up the Down Stair. I knew all those. So when Colin said, "You want to play this?" I'm like, yeah, because it's right up my street. This is the music I love. So it was very easy for me to slide into those songs and would become a part of them. And that we reversed last month. It just clicked, it just clicked. It's not a magic actually. I really enjoy playing that albums. In music in general, you didn't even cover any. You play the stuff live, venue pays a PRS royalty, and the original writers of the song are always taken care of. So you would cover and do anywhere. So there was never any legal restraints. Now, there are some emotional restraints. I'm still very good friends with Steve. I would hope that you would support this. And when we announced the band, he immediately texted me and said, "Hey, man, how far? I hope you've been successful and have a good time." And it felt really great on a personal level to hear from him right away, and we go back and forth talking about the whole thing, and we got a single. We remade a song. We're gonna release the single on April 2nd, and I sent it to Steve. I was like, "Steve, this is kind of what this project's gonna be like. What do you think?" He wrote back. He was like, "I love this. I'm gonna play it on my radio show. I'm really excited for you guys now. We wanted to show Steve how seriously you were taking this mover. And this wasn't just some band going out just trying to cover the songs. We were reinterpreting them. We're bringing them to life. We're bringing our musicality to these amazing songs. That era of Porcupine Tree was such a beautiful era. I mean, it evolved. Steve's always there. So be able to go back and bring that era of music to those fans that loved her, and hopefully fans that were never able to see that, never able to experience those songs, that you get to come out and experience a new life songs. So for me, again, playing guitar with Steve for so many years was always very special to me. And now to be able to bring his parts to life, because he's such a fantastic guitar player. I don't think it gets mentioned enough. His guitar playing is almost overshadowed by the other songwriting skill sets. I personally think he's one of the finest, most beautiful guitar players I've ever heard. So for me to be able to play that music and bring those songs to life, Stan. We're going to reinterpret Nostalgia Thought as our first kind of single. And I mean, you have to be a hardcore Porcupine Tree fan to know Nostalgia Thought, because it was really early days and it wasn't really pushed that much, but it's such a cool song. It's very psychedelic, and we redid it, you boys. So that comes out April 2nd. Yeah, the first show is a Prog festival in Italy, and we're actually going to do a warm-up gig around that time. It's not just something small just for the band to play before we walk on stage. We're doing a big Prog festival in Italy, and then we're going to Morow, Germany. And then from Germany, we're doing 3 shows in Holland. And from Holland, we're going to do 5 shows in the UK, and that's going to be like the introduction of the band to the world. And we hope it goes really well because we like to do this more, you know. And we already got some things being booked for the following year. And we'll just sit up on this girl.
Maybe something on the Christus Irech.
Maybe, you never know. We hope. You know, it's I'll say it's being discussed. Hopefully we can make it work because we love Bruce. Yeah.
Injuries in progress. It's all in your head. There's no recalling a single word that was said. It whittled us down, breaks us across the embers of cool and should have done. Mindful of all that lives and what tears and all that's been given up and given in. Whittled us down, dragged us across.
I have meant sores. I have read a very, very interesting a lot of ups and downs, and so sometimes I create characters that may have various elements of a life somewhat like mine. You know, I've raised a daughter, I'm raising a son, I've got 3 grandkids. In that mutable life, there's a lot of lost things. Lost people. I've been around people with lost people. Well, just in the last 10 years since I saw you, people very close to me, I've lost several. And each time that happens, I say, that's me overall. And so there's a human universal we all go through. We all share these things. We all share these ups and downs. So what I want to do is I want to reach out to the people that have stories themselves, and yet they don't have a way to tell those stories. So what I want to do is create a story that connects to them. There's a scientific term. It's called narrative transportation. That's the word I was looking for. It's called narrative transportation. What that is, I tell you a story, and you find yourself in that story, and then you start viewing that story through your own lens. That's called narrative transportation. And that's every time I play, that's what I'm looking to achieve. I'm looking to make that connection, take my story and make me. Right now, ready to be recorded. I've got a couple recorded already. I have 7 written that I know that I want. I have another 5 that I'm not sure of yet. I'm still writing them, baby. Still finding stories, still leashing people and finding stories all over. So I'm almost done. I want to hit 10, but I've been release singles. I got a new single coming out personally. I should talk about that. I have a new single myself coming out with a nice month. I've already put it out for my Patreon fans. Like Patreon, pay like $5 a month, could be on my Patreon. Helps support me and helps me to be able to refer it. And so they've already got this thing. And now I'm gonna put it out on Bandcamp, but I'm gonna put it out everywhere to show. Yeah, I'll put it out over the next month as well. So I'm very excited about that. First song ever means to get there. Maybe you can talk more about the last songs
About level? Patreon. Yes.
big for it.
Yeah, so Patreon goes, and in principle, goes back to the old days when artists could not get paid like you were like Colentua or if you were Mozart, you didn't get paid for doing that. But you had lovers of art who maybe had more incomes or different incomes, and they will do tribute to you and keep you alive and help you support your art. And we're kind of in that phase now. It's very hard for musicians to make money from music. I mean, everyone gets where you go, Spotify's and every place like that.
You kind of make a little money touring, but the expenses have gotten such that you can't really a lot of money touring.
So for a smaller artist like myself, Patreon is a platform where people can come together and go, I like this artist, I like this art, I'm going to do something small to help them support their art. And one's there about $5 a month or $50 a month, and you take all that money, and that's how I pay for my recording costs. I mixed the last record out of that. I was missing a couple pieces of gear. I was able to take that money and use that. And I had this community and this private community. So I did things for them. I go online and I did acoustic solo shows, live streaming just for my people. Yes. They have the single that came out last week. No one else has it. No one else has heard it. Just my Patreon like does that because they all support me. And they're always in touch of what happens in my career first. And I'm trying to do more specific things for them. And there's a lot of artists that we're able to carry on our careers, because of the support of our Patreon. No, I think the only thing I would like to add is that there's so much going on. There's this band, Vertical Lies, that you're in the States. Come see us. We'll play all the time. Voyage 35 is going to start in Europe next year. Oh, that is just so much fun. If you're a lover of psychedelic prog, you're just going to love this band. And then there's my own music, which come share some of those stories. Let's do some connection. I hope you find yourself in stories that like up.